Hello and welcome back. And in this video, we are going to be creating or learning about animatable properties in SwiftUI. And we're going to be particularly focusing on offset and opacity. Okay, so SwiftUI views can be animated by modifying just few properties. And animations in SwiftUI are interactive in nature. Today, we'll look at examples of properties that can be animated in SwiftUI. All right, so we're going to focus on two particular, and then we're going to follow up with more videos to basically discuss more properties. So we're going to start with offset. So views offset is animatable, and we can animate views by passing CG size or XY coordinates for their offset values. Let's go ahead and create an example for this. I'm going to create a couple of state variables. First one is going to be random offset x, and we're going to initialize this with 0.0, and I'm going to copy this and basically create another version of it for y-axis, and we're going to initialize it with 0.0. Now we need a trigger for the animation. Basically, that animation needs to play, the animation that we are creating, it needs to play over and over. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a timer publisher, and upon receiving change on the timer, we can actually add a random offset to our offset x and offset y values. So let's go ahead and create a timer. We want to publish every second. We want to run on the main loop, and we want to run loop mode, we want to set it to common. Okay, we also want to make sure that this auto connects, basically automates the process of connecting and disconnecting using a publisher. So that's why we are going to auto connect with this publisher. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a navigation stack. Inside that, we're going to create a circle with foreground style as a radial gradient with defined colors. The colors I'm going to choose pink and blue. For the center, we're going to set, or we're going to start our gradient at the center point, and the start radius is going to be 0, the end radius is going to be 100. All right, next what we're going to do is we're going to create a frame with height of 100 points. Right, since we are creating a circle, and because circle is always created inside a square, that means that our circle, just by defining the height, it's going to take 100 by 100 shape, okay, for the width and height. So we don't have to define the width in this case. All right, now comes the place where we want to set the offset for this view. So we're going to say offset, and as you can see, offset takes XY value or CG size value through its overloads. So offset, and there we go. We're going to choose the one that takes X and Y values. So for the X value, we're going to say, I want to pass random offset X, and for the Y, I want to pass random offset Y variables. Okay, now we're going to basically add an animation, and we're going to add spring animation for this. For the value, it doesn't matter which one you give, either X or Y. You just select one of the value and basically provide that as the value for the animation over which the interpolation is going to take place. All right, next is our publisher. So we're gonna use on receive publisher over the timer publisher. This is going to give us an output, but we don't care about the output because we are not subscribing to actual values that publisher is publishing. We just want to generate some random numbers all the time, every single second. So for that reason, we are simply going to put underscore, and we're going to say random x is equal to double dot random in -200 to +200. So basically what we are doing is we are generating a random point between x and y, for x and y between -200 points and positive 200 points on x-axis. So you can see our view is moving in x and y direction. Now, it's not moving basically, it's not animated. The reason is we have actually subscribed or added our animation on the y. So let's go ahead and set this for y. And you're gonna notice soon the animation is gonna start taking place. All right, next or the last thing is adding a navigation title. So this is inside the navigation view, and I'm just gonna add dev tech here, right? So this is how simple it is basically to add animation to OffSet. Now, let's say if we want to update this and we want to use CG size instead of using X and Y. How can we do that? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create two more state properties. So let's go ahead and create two more state properties. We're going to say random width, and CG size takes width and height. So we're going to generate random width and random height for them. We're going to use the same publisher. That's the benefit of publisher. As many receiver or subscribers can subscribe to the change and basically update themselves. So we're going to use the same timer publisher, and we're going to basically cut the current circle and paste it inside a V stack so we can create another circle. Now this time around we're going to create a green and a blue circle. Okay, and as you can see, they are now sort of dancing in sync, but we're gonna change them by setting the offset to CG size value, which takes width and height, and we're gonna say it's gonna be random width and random height. All right. At this point, there is no value that is assigned to random width and random height other than the initialized value, which was 0, 0, which is why you don't see it moving right now. So what we can do is we can just update random width and random height. And we also want to make sure that we are animating on one of these properties. So we're going to just do random width. Okay. With that change, as you can see, two of our circles are moving at every second to different positions, random positions. And this creates an interesting effect, but you saw that how easy it is to not only add the animation, but add the animation on a certain modifier. Now, in this case, it is the offset. Let's go and move on to the next topic, which is the opacity. Now, opacity is basically used to set the transparency of a view, and its value ranges between 0, which is fully transparent, and 1 being fully opaque. Now, opacity is another animatable property, and we're going to create an example for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this guy and put this in example 1. So I'm going to create an extra view here. And I'm gonna grab the whole thing and paste it down here so you don't lose the example. And I'm gonna create a new body property. All right. So for opacity, we're gonna create a state variable, and this time we're gonna toggle the we're gonna create a traffic light, and we're gonna toggle the opacity as if traffic light is cycling through red, orange, green. Okay, so we're gonna create a state variable, state private var traffic light. We're gonna set its initial value to 0. Okay, and we're gonna basically create 3 circles, and those 3 circles are going to basically cycle through. So we're gonna say if they're 1, turn on this one, if they're 2, turn on this one, and so on and so forth. So and we're gonna do this every second. So let's go ahead and grab this timer publisher, and next I'm gonna create a navigation stack inside the body and a V stack. Okay, I'm gonna grab this circle because up until frame everything is gonna be pretty much the same. So I'm gonna choose that and gonna draw 3 circles here. We're gonna change their colors. So first one is gonna be orange and red. Second one is going to be orange and yellow. And the third one is going to be mint and green. Let's go ahead and refresh. Our view is refreshing, so I'm gonna wait for that. And what we should see is, let's go ahead and refresh it manually. All right, it's having a little bit hard time, so let me go ahead and rebuild. Okay, and let's go ahead and restart. So view is refreshing. Okay, let's go ahead and launch this onto a simulator. Build this failed. Okay. All right, so there's some. Okay, yeah. There we go. That is the problem. All right, so let me go ahead and refresh this. And there you have it. We have, like, 3 lights: red, orange, and green. And what we want to do is we want to basically use opacity and toggle the opacity. So we're going to say opacity traffic light is equal 0, 1.0. So if the traffic light's value is 0, that means set the opacity to fully opaque. Otherwise, set its transparency to 0.2 or 20%. 20% opacity. Okay, I'm gonna copy this and paste it for the other guy, and I'm gonna set this to 1 and 2. Okay. Next thing, what we're gonna do is we're gonna first add the animation. And we're gonna once again use the spring animation over traffic light and on receive timer publisher. Once again, we are not going to use its value, but what we're going to do is we're going to say if the traffic light is greater than 2, well, set the traffic light's value to -1, because we're going to increase that right here. So traffic light plus equal 1. Okay, so it's basically going to cycle through. So -1 is going to go to 0, 0 is going to go to 1, 1 is going to go to 2, and now it's 2 basically. And so that means next time when the timer comes, it's going to be greater than 2. So there's going to be a pause in between, and then the light will cycle through again. And you can see our preview has resumed, and we have this traffic light or traffic signal animation playing on the screen. Okay, all right, to make it a little bit more realistic, you can add an overlay on this, and you can basically have a rounded rectangle with corner radius 20, add some padding, and just let's add the stroke line width of 4 points. So there we have it. Our traffic signal is looking awesome. So this is how you can create your own custom animations just by combining few properties. And in this video, you saw how you can animate not only the opacity, but also the offset modifier. Now in future videos, we're gonna basically look at more animatable properties. All right, so this is it for this video. Thank you so much once again for watching. I will see you guys in another video.